Hi everyone, Jennifer here from Living Freely Gluten Free. Thank you for joining me this Friday. This is a series that I'm doing where I'm cooking live recipes out of my cookbook, 101 Incredible Gluten Free Recipes, that came out almost a year ago. And I'm really excited because by popular request today we are making donuts. So when you pop in, say hi, let me know that you're here. After today, there's only one more live for this series. I will do more videos, but this series will be wrapping up and it's been amazing. So I'm so excited to be with you guys today. Jennifer Allen says, hi, hey, how are you? Let's see, Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. Whenever you pop in, say hi. So today we're making donuts. This is going to be a little time consuming. So I hope you guys grab a cup of coffee or some tea. If you're on the East Coast, maybe you're going to grab a glass of wine and get comfortable, and let's make some donuts. Ask your questions. So obviously pastries are something that are very intimidating. It took me 2.5, 3 years to perfect this recipe. And it wasn't what I needed it to be in the beginning. Caitlin's here. Hey, Caitlin. Desiree's here. Hi. Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. Okay. I shared a picture on social media of the donuts, and I'm gonna share it here with you guys. So these are the donuts. This is on page 167 of 101 Incredible Gluten Free Recipes. These are the legit donuts. So when you Google gluten-free donuts, 9 out of the 10 recipes that are gonna pop up for you is a cake donut. And those are great. They're super easy to make. It's just cake batter in a donut pan. You bake it, you frost it, you're done. I've got lots of those recipes. Very, very easy if you want to just try something. But if you are craving a real donut that, I'm gonna have to warm up my water again, sorry guys. If you're craving a real donut that is yeast risen and deep fried and actually tastes good, this is the recipe that you've been waiting for. I'm gonna warm my water up again. This is the second time this happened. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna activate the yeast, and we need water that is 110 degrees. So I'm trying to get my water up to 110 degrees. Once we have that, I'm gonna activate it. I'll show you guys how I do that. There's a lot of little steps to this, and so we're gonna work through all of those. So Olivia is here. Hi, Olivia. Zafir's here. I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for everyone who's hanging out with me today. I'm now gonna check my temperature of my water, and so I have this super handy dandy candy thermometer, and I have all of these things linked up on my website, but if you ever want a link, just shoot me a message. I'm more than happy to share. And we're going to use this for several things in this recipe. So the tools that you are going to need for this is a thermometer. You're also going to need a donut cutter, and a stand mixer is highly recommended. We are also going to be deep frying. So you're gonna need something that you can put oil, like a nice size pot that you can put oil in. I am using my Le Creuset Dutch oven. I love this thing for frying stuff because it has high sides and it makes it so much easier. And because the material that this is made out of, it's cast iron, it heats evenly, which is amazing too. So that is what we're gonna be using for that. Donuts. Sisters with Sensitivities, I love your kitchen. Thank you. We've been in this house for a little over a year now, and we're really, really happy. It's a great place for us. Okay, so I feel like my yeast is warm enough, and now I'm gonna activate it. So I'm gonna try to move a little bit out of the way. I'm hoping that this is gonna work because I have these, this is active dry yeast, and I have these little packets, and for some reason, oops, the last time I tried to use it, it was like the yeast had gone bad and it wasn't activating, even though the date was still good. So we're gonna try this out and see if it works, and let's hope that it does. So how you activate yeast, There's two types of yeast. There's instant yeast, there's active dry yeast. Instant yeast, what you're gonna do is you're going to add it into your mixer with all of the ingredients. So you're gonna put the warm water in, you're gonna put the sugar, you're gonna put the yeast in, you're gonna blend it all together. With active dry yeast, you want to activate it before you put it in. It's a preference, it's whatever you can find, but either works totally perfect. You really can't go wrong. I have some instant yeast. If this doesn't work, we're gonna go that route. So what we do is we put this in here, I give it a little quick stir. We want this to double in size. When it doubles in size, it's ready. And then we can use it. So I'm gonna set this right here, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work for me. We'll keep an eye on it for a second. If it doesn't, we'll just use the instant yeast and I'll show you guys how to do that too. Improvising. Okay, let's see. Olivia says, what oil are you using? I will be frying these donuts in coconut oil. And you can use vegetable oil, you can use any oil. Any oil will work, but for me, when I'm frying things, I like to use coconut oil because it is a clean oil that can be heated to super high temperatures without releasing toxins into your food. It is a little more expensive than using a vegetable oil, but it is a personal preference. So whatever you like or whatever you have totally works. Okay. So now, while I'm waiting on my yeast that doesn't want to cooperate with me to see if it activates, I have a saucepan. You guys can't really see what's happening on the stove. I will flip you over when we fry. I'm gonna put a cup of milk in here and I'm going to warm it. I'm not going to boil it, I'm going to warm it, and that's all. And I'm using, all I have on hand right now is flax milk, so that's what we're using, but it calls for coconut milk in the directions. Obviously, whatever you have is gonna work. Regular milk, almond milk, coconut milk, flax milk, it'll all do the job. A few other things while we're waiting on this stuff that I have prepped. I have a baking sheet lined with paper towels. So when we're frying and we pull them out, we're gonna put them on here. I also have another baking sheet over here that you guys probably can't see, and it's lined with parchment paper because once we cut the donuts out, we are going to let them rise. And so I have this to the side so the donuts that are cut out can sit over here and rise. And it does look like my yeast is doing something, so that's good. Okay, that's great, Olivia. That's good that it's not too pricey. That's awesome. So yeah, you can use any oil, but I'm using coconut oil. That's my favorite to use for this recipe. Another thing that will make this easier for you is this handy dandy little spider gadget. If you don't have one of these and you want to start making a lot of things from scratch at home, I highly recommend one of these. I use it for a lot of different things, but in this particular cookbook, I have the donut recipe, I have an apple fritter recipe, and I use this for both of them. So if you're gonna be frying things, this guy is a best friend. So check these out too. All this stuff is on Amazon. I have it linked on my Amazon. I have an Amazon storefront with all of the stuff that I use. So if you're ever looking for anything, I have that and I can always share it with you. Okay, so our yeast is doing something, which is good. We'll just see if it does exactly what I need it to do, which is get really big. But if not, I have some instant yeast over here. So I have my milk over here on the stove. I'm warming it up. Once it's warm, we are going to melt some coconut oil and some butter in it. If you don't like coconut oil, then you might be able to just double up on the butter. I'm using vegan butter. And I get asked a lot, what kind of vegan butter do I use? I always buy Earth Balance. It's easy to find. And we can all have it, so it's an easy go-to for us. So I use the Earth Balance vegan butter. Okay, so I think that's all of the tools that we are going to need. As far as flour goes, your gluten-free flour is very, very, very important. It will make or break your recipe, and I tell that to everyone all the time because I always get everyone who put in all of this effort and ingredients are expensive and your recipe flops, and it's the flour that you used, because not all gluten-free flours are created equal. So my recommendation, I've been baking gluten-free for almost 10 years now, is to either make your own flour, and I have the recipe in my book, or better batter. And this is the only pre-made flour that I will use, and that's what I'm using today because it's so easy and I love the results. I love that. Okay, so I have a little tiny simmer in my milk, and I'll just turn you guys a little bit so you can see what I'm doing over here. I'm just going to melt. I have the vegan butter. I'm going to melt that in here, and I'm also going to melt some coconut oil in there. And that's just going to sit to the side, and this yeast is not going to work. So we are going to do the instant yeast route. I'm losing my faith in this Red Star yeast. I think it's just, I don't know if it went bad or what, but if your yeast is not good, it won't turn out. So it's important to make sure that you're using fresh yeast. It really does make a big difference. I'm going to fill this up with some warm water, and I will be right back. So sorry. We have this awesome little Primo machine, and it spits out hot water at us, so it makes it so easy just to get warm or hot water. And I need this to be 110 degrees, so I'm checking my temp on there. Okay, I'm gonna stir up my milk to melt everything in it. And while we're waiting for this to all melt and blend together, I'm gonna start using the mixer, and we're going to beat up the eggs. So this recipe is not vegan. It is dairy-free, so it does have eggs in it. And we're gonna start by, okay, and I think this is good. So we can go ahead and just pour that in. I'm gonna add my eggs. And I have the paddle attachment on, that's what you're gonna wanna use. And we're gonna let these blend up for, I think, like 4 minutes. Yep, 4 minutes. We're gonna beat these up for 4 minutes. Although I don't feel like we have to beat them for the entire 4 minutes. I think they'll be okay. All right, so if you guys have any questions along the way, please ask. This is video 3 of a 4-week video series. Today we are making donuts. If you are just popping in right now, I'm beating the eggs. I have some flax milk that I warmed up, and I'm melting coconut oil and butter in it. And then we're gonna start adding ingredients in here. And you guys can see my yeast flopped on me. So I'm throwing all of that out and I'm not using it again. So in here I have instant yeast, and we'll be adding that into the recipe. And I'm gonna try to show you guys how to, I'm gonna at least make the frosting with you. I don't think you wanna spend the entire day with me. This is a process, this is a step. I was not able to prep anything the day before, like making donuts 2 days in a row was not something I wanted to do. Let's just be honest, I have to work, and I just didn't have time to make donuts yesterday. So we're doing this all today. Okay, so we have the eggs in here. I'm gonna add my yeast now, and we're gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by adding my warm water in here. I'm going to add my yeast. And now we're gonna add sugar. And what the sugar does is that is what feeds the yeast. So the warmth plus the sugar is what makes the yeast grow. and that is what we want. So we are going to add that in there, and okay, I'm going to do a dash of salt. Where's my salt? Sorry. It's been about a year since I've made these, let's be honest. Okay, so I just put a dash of salt in here. And we're going to go ahead and add this mixture in here. And then I'm going to add the rest of the sugar and also the flour. And that's really all there is to this. I'm going to turn this speed down real quick before we have spillage. Okay. So now I'm going to add the rest of the sugar in here. I have some sugar right here. We're going to put that in there. And I'm going to add the flour. So I have better batter flour here. Last time when I made French bread, I kind of gave you guys some tips on measuring up your flour. So you don't want to just stick your measuring cup into the flour and dump. You're going to want to spoon this in. I'm going to move you guys over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. You want to spoon this in. So I'm going to take a spoon. I'm going to get a clean one. And I'm going to spoon this into my measuring cup, and then I'm going to dump it 1 cup at a time into the mixer. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Again, I'm using better batter flour. And if you want to try it, I have an awesome 30% off coupon code for you guys too. And it's literally the only pre-made flour that I will use. If you use the code LivingFreelyGF, you get 30% off your entire purchase on betterbatter.com. And they even have like make mixes. Oh, and they have an artisan blend that's rice-free, and it works on all my recipes. I've used it. So it's awesome. If you can't do the rice flour, that's what I recommend. So I've got 1 cup of flour in there. Now we're going to work on cup number 2. So you just spoon it into the measuring cup, kind of, level it out at the end, make sure that it's correct, and then we're going to dump it. So now we've got cup number 2. And again, the flour really makes a big difference. Sorry Facebook, or was that Instagram? I'm sorry you guys. For some reason, like my phone goes to sleep, and if I'm not totally paying attention, we go dark. But I apologize, Instagram. Okay, now we have cup number 3. We're adding that in. You see this beautiful dough that we have forming here? It's gorgeous. I love it. Sometimes if I'm at the end of the bag, I will just pour it. And I'm going to open up this bag now. And I love doing this on top of a cutting board because it's always messy. It just makes it easier. Okay. This is our last cup of flour. Oh, a question I get asked a lot. If your flour blend has xanthan gum in it, are you still going to add the xanthan gum? And the answer is no. If your blend already has it in there, please don't put more, you'll ruin it. It'll get all gummy and funky, and I just made a mess. Okay, but if you're using my flour blend, you will add the xanthan gum in it. Okay, again, if you guys have any questions, please ask. Oh, Jennifer said no blackouts. We're good on Facebook, but I had a blackout on Instagram, unfortunately. So I'm sorry, all my Instagram people. Okay, so our flour is looking lovely. I'm gonna grab a spatula, and I've got stuff flying out at me. It's my life story. I'm gonna turn this off real quick, and I'm gonna scrape the sides just to make sure that we don't have any flour that got left out. We just want it to all blend really, really well. And I'm gonna let this blend again for a minute. All right. Okay. So our next step is going to be cutting out the donuts. Let's see, Irene wants to know, how much xanthan gum do I add to your flour blend? So if you want to put your own xanthan gum in the whole blend and you just want to have it ready to go, it is 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum for every 2 cups of flour. So I believe my recipe has, I think it has 6 cups of flour total, so you would want to put 3 teaspoons of xanthan gum in it if you were going to add it into the flour blend. If not, it tells you how much xanthan gum you'll put into the recipe, in every recipe in the cookbook, so it'll tell you. Caitlin said it was fine. Oh good, so we didn't have a blackout then. Well, that's good news. Okay, I think we're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up. And we're gonna start cutting donuts. So I'm hoping that some of them will rise while I'm cutting these all up so that we can just get to work right away so I don't have to keep you guys here all day. But the donuts do have to rise for 20 minutes before you fry them, because we want beautiful, fluffy, delicious, airy donuts. We don't want dense, yucky donuts. Okay. I'm gonna move these guys to my sink. Rinse my hands a little bit. And one trick to gluten-free dough, if you're new to gluten-free baking, is it's sticky. It's sticky, and you want it to be sticky because if it's not, then you're probably not gonna get that fluffy end result that you are wanting. So you have to be patient with it. You have to shape it differently than you're used to when you're doing, you know, gluten baking. So with that, you're always flouring a surface. You're working on a floured surface. I don't typically do that with my recipes. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. And one of my tips and tricks that I've learned over the years is plastic wrap. And a lot of people will say parchment paper, but I found that some of my doughs are even so sticky that they don't work great on parchment paper either. So plastic wrap has been like my trick of rolling out doughs for many, many years now. So you'll see often in my recipes that I tell you to, sometimes I use parchment paper, but sometimes I tell you to do it between plastic wrap, and there's a reason for that. It just makes things so much easier. I'm grabbing a 1/2 cup measuring spoon, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay some of this plastic wrap just right on my counter, and this is my surface. This is what I'm gonna be working with. Let me know if you guys can't see what I'm doing, and I will adjust the camera. But it's as simple as having a little bit of water. Totally should have put my hair in a ponytail. Having a little bit of water right next to you, because if your dough is sticking to your donut cutter, you're gonna wanna dip it in that just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is you're gonna work with a 1/2 cup of dough at a time. And I'm just going to grab the dough and I'm gonna flop it right here on my plastic wrap. Put that there. I'm gonna get another piece of plastic wrap to go over the top. I'm gonna push this down just a little bit. We're not flattening this out. I'm just pushing it down enough so that it's big enough to cut the donut. And you can absolutely save these donut holes and fry the donut holes too. Okay, so I'm gonna lift this up. I'm gonna test this out with nothing on it, and we will see if I can get my donut out of it. It all stuck on here like this, so I'm just gonna take my spatula and I'm going to pull the sides off. And I can tell you, I'm already feeling like this dough is not gonna really want to come out of here. So I might have to wet it for the next round. Okay, so now you're gonna wanna pop it out onto your lined, I have a lined baking sheet right here with parchment paper on it. I don't know if you guys can see it. It came out okay, but it would have came out a little bit better if I wet the cutter a little bit. And then I'm just gonna pop the donut hole out. Can you guys, there you go. I'm gonna pop this out over on the other side. So we are not wasting any dough here. We are gonna eat the donut holes and the donuts. I'm gonna stick this in the water. And I'm going to grab another half cup. And so this is the process. We're doing this, we're going to repeat until we have made all of our donuts. This usually makes around 10 donuts, plus the donut holes, which is awesome. I have never, so one question that I get is, can you freeze these? I have never froze these, but I have readers that have froze these, and they said that they just popped them into the microwave and they were amazing. So that is totally an option, and I might try that this time. The problem is just we end up eating them. So there's never any leftovers. So I have, from Nerdy C wants to know, jalapeno cheese bread. Have you ever done that? I have not made jalapeno cheese bread, but that sounds freaking amazing and I want some. So I think that we should totally do that. It would have to be dairy-free cheese bread for me, but you could use dairy too. But that's an awesome idea. We love spicy around here, anything spicy. So that sounds really good. Okay, so I have this and I wet it, so it's sliding out at this point. So I'm just gonna pop that onto my sheet. I popped out my donut hole, and we're going to keep repeating this process. And this is gonna take a little bit of time. So if you guys have anything you wanna chat about, if you have any questions, any questions, it doesn't have to be food related, it can be for anything. Please, let's have some convo going on here. New Days GF said, good morning from New Zealand, everyone. Good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful week. If you guys watched my French bread video that I did the week before last, I told you about a vegan version, so I did send that out to my newsletter subscribers. So if anyone has made it, I really want to know. And if not, it will be on the blog probably, I don't know, maybe this summer. I have most of my content planned out for a while, and that's why I put that in the newsletter. Where can I get the donut cutter from? So the donut cutter is available on Amazon, and I think it's like, I want to say it's like 10 bucks or something. I actually ordered a new one yesterday because I couldn't find this, but it didn't come in time, so I had to literally scour every part of my house to find it. But I bought one that has a handle on it. I thought that might be nice because, you know, sometimes the continuous pushing down, it can, well, I have carpal tunnel, so sometimes it can be a little difficult for me, but I've been using this same donut cutter for years, and it's great. Less than $10 from Amazon, and again, I have links to all of this stuff if you guys wanted to. But yeah, just search donut cutter on Amazon and all kinds will pop up. Okay. My mother just walked in.
Ooh, what are you making?
She's gonna want some of these donuts. See, this was wet and I couldn't even get it to come up, so I'm gonna have to get dough all over my hands for this one. But you can see it's very sticky. And now I have dough all over my hands. I'm gonna grab a paper towel. But you can see this isn't like too difficult. It's just time consuming. And you know, it's one of those things though that if you love donuts, and I really, really like donuts a lot, you're gonna wanna make this because I don't know if you guys have any gluten-free bakeries nearby. The closest bakery that we have is about 45 minutes away, and their donuts are not very good. I'm really picky about the donuts that I eat. I want the yeast risen deep fried ones, and I find often that it's always like a cake donut, and I don't want a cake donut. So these are absolutely phenomenal. If you don't have bakeries nearby that do donuts, it's worth the effort to do every once in a while. So Olivia wants to know if I do I fill the donut middles with anything? No, but you totally can. You could put jelly inside of them, or you could stuff them with Nutella, whatever you want. You're just gonna need to have the little attachment where you squeeze the stuff into it. I've never done that. I have made like square and bar donuts before, and I've fried those. So that's how I would suggest doing something like that. These I'm actually cutting the middles out. So I don't think you could fill these ones, but if you didn't want to cut the middles out and you wanted to just use like a round cookie cutter, then you could fill them up with jelly or, you know, whatever you're wanting to fill them with, which would be so much fun. My family's not that adventurous though. They're just like, give me a donut, put some frosting on it. They're not into the whole like jelly filled donut thing, which I would be. I would eat any of that. So you're gonna space these out on the baking sheet about 2 inches apart so they have a little bit of room to be able to rise. And few of them look like they're rising already a little bit, which is good. So I can try to go ahead and just fry some of these up for you guys. So we are on our 6th donut right now. We've got 4 more to go after this one. We're getting there, you guys. Thank you for hanging in with me. I know that probably not like super exciting watching me spoon dough onto this and cut out donuts, but it's the process and it's totally worth it in the end because everybody loves donuts, right? I want to know, share with me what your favorite gluten-free treat is. I want to know what your favorite treat is, and then also what you miss the most. So since going gluten-free, what do you miss the most out of all of your gluten-free treats? What do you not have a lot, and what do you miss the most? I'd like to know. So share that in the comments. Okay, we're getting there. And I'm gonna tell you guys, you know, if you want an inexpensive, easy flour, my recipe is great. But I swear by the better batter. Like even the consistency of working with it is so good. They know what they're doing over there, making flour. Okay, so Olivia, so you have a son then who's 3, and toppings and fillings are a must. And sprinkles on these are a lot of fun, and you can use any kind of frosting flavor that you want. So I have a chocolate frosting recipe. I think it's on the blog and in my cookbook. I'm gonna throw that back in there. So if you don't want to do maple, which is the main frosting recipe that I have in the cookbook, you can do a glaze, which is basically just gonna be powdered sugar and some milk, or you can do chocolate, which I have a recipe for, and I also have a strawberry glaze recipe too up on the blog. And I'm like sliding all over the floor because I spilled a bunch of flour. So if I slip and fall, I'm sorry. All right, 3 more donuts. We're almost there. And like all together, this whole recipe from start to finish, it's gonna take you a little over an hour, maybe like an hour and 20 minutes, especially if this is your first time doing it. It might take a little bit longer. Don't get frustrated. I love doing the videos because I've learned so many tricks over the years making these, like dipping the donut cutter in water and all these different things that it's just really nice to be able to share that with you guys so you can just be successful the first time that you do it and you're not having to like guess how all of these things need to be done. This donut hole didn't want to come out of the middle. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 2 more donuts. All right, so where are, okay, we've got Oreos, or no, cross buns. Ooh, yum. I've never had a cross bun. That sounds good. So no milk, no soy, gluten, and eggs. We are just putting back in his diet slowly. So you guys did like an elimination diet and you're slowly adding things in to see how he does. That's really smart to do. And I don't see why you couldn't use an egg replacer in this recipe. I think it would probably be fine. I haven't personally done it, but I think it would be fine. We are almost done with these. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up the oil. So that is important. You're gonna want to heat the oil up. We need to do we have one more donut to go. You're gonna wanna make sure that the donut is the oil is at the exact right temperature, because what's gonna happen is you are gonna start to burn the outside of the donut and the inside is not going to get cooked all the way through because you're gonna have to pull it out before the donut gets burnt, and you're gonna have a raw inside of the donut. So it's super, super important to make sure that you have the right temperature on your oil, and the little thermometer is how I do that. And you have to kind of adjust as you go. You know, turning the heat down or turning the heat up just to make sure that you're keeping it at the exact right temperature. Okay. This is our last little donut. We have a tiny bit, and my dog is gonna want outside in a minute, but she's gonna have to wait. We have a tiny bit of dough left, and you can always take the extra dough and, you know, do whatever you want with it. Try to make another donut out of it. We can just do one that's like this. I'll just plop that right there on the baking sheet. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna wash all of this dough off of my hands, and I'm gonna let my dog out. Andrea says hi. Hi. Olivia, will you shoot me a recipe for the hot cross buns? Because I'd love to look at how they're made and see if I can make them, because that would be a lot of fun. I've heard great things about them. My mother is over on, what is she? She's on Instagram, and she wants to know if she can have 3 or 4 donuts. I'm only gonna let her have 1. And this dough is sticky, so it takes a minute to get it off of your hands. It's totally worth it. I have a full house today. So my mom is here, my kids are here, and my husband is in the other room working from home today. I'm turning my oil on because I'm gonna let this start melting and getting warm, and I'm gonna let my dog out. All right, we're only 40 minutes in. We're doing good. You guys are hanging in tight. Which I really, really appreciate. No, so Olivia, it doesn't need to be gluten-free. I can take any recipe and I can totally switch it around and figure it out. My mother thinks that she's gonna eat all these donuts. If you guys are over on Instagram, you can see her comments. Oh, my mom and my sister, I think, are now fighting over the donuts. So yes, Jewel is my sister. She helps me. You can have a donut. Mom can have a donut. And I'm having 5 donuts. They're all for me since I made them. Okay, here's our sheet. This is the work that we just did, you guys. And so normally you're just gonna like, you know, you can set this on the stove and let it sit and rise for 20 minutes. These have probably been sitting here for about, I don't know, how many minutes you guys do you think? 10? What I'm probably gonna do just to keep the pace moving here is I will start with the ones that we put on here first and work my way so that they have time to rise a little bit. And yes, Mother, I do, or Joel, I have a few donut holes, so everyone's gonna get a donut. My family's fighting over the donuts right now, and they're not even gluten-free. They just want donuts. Okay, I'm gonna grab a drink of water. Okay, but the deal is here, one of you needs to come do all these dishes. So if my mom and my sister want to fight over the donuts, whoever does the dishes gets an extra donut. I think that should be the deal. Thank you for the recipe, Olivia. I'll look it up this weekend and see what I can figure out from it. Okay, I'm going to adjust. We're going to be coming over here. Let's hope we don't have any cameras falling. Okay, Joel, come do the dishes. My sister says she's going to do the dishes for donuts. I think that's a fair trade here. Okay, so right here I've got my Dutch oven. I've got my coconut oil in it. This gets hot. We're going to let that warm up. I'm going to move these guys out of the way. I literally have flour all over my, I'm gonna have to mop when I'm done with this. I'm gonna move this over here. So this is just a baking sheet lined with paper towels because as we pull our donuts out of the oil, we want to put it on the baking sheet lined with paper towels, let that absorb up that oil. And then they have to sit for 20 minutes before we can frost them. So unless you guys want to stare at me for 20 minutes after I'm done frying them, I think I might just make the frosting with you guys and then I'll tell you how you're gonna frost the donut. Okay, so I'm gonna take my thermometer and I'm gonna clip it on the side of the pan, and this is going to be able to tell me what the temperature is of the oil, and we're gonna want to keep this on here all times. I'm gonna move it out of the way a little bit over here, and I'm gonna double check the temperature that this calls for because it is super important that we keep the oil at 275 to 300 degrees the entire time. 275 is the number you want to keep it at, but don't ever let it get over 300. And what happens is it happens quick. And it happens really quick, especially when you've got the donuts coming in and out, the temperature changes. So you like turn it up or you turn it down. You have to keep a really good eye on it while you're doing that. We're gonna fry them on about 1.5 minutes per side, and then we'll take them out. And I think I usually do 2 donuts at a time. You don't wanna overwhelm yourself or overload it because then it's hard to get it in and out. And if you don't have the book, if you use the code 2021 on my website, you get 20% off, which is awesome because you can't get it that price anywhere else, and I send it signed. But if you do already have the book, there is an apple fritter recipe in here that is kind of the same technique as this, although it's way easier personally to make because you don't have to cut it. So it's just in the bowl, you mix all of the ingredients and then you let it like kind of rise up in the bowl, and then you just spoon it out into, it doesn't even have to look pretty. You spoon it out and you fry it. But this is kind of the same method. You want to keep an eye on the oil, you want to keep an eye on the temperature, and you don't want to burn them or have them undercooked in the middle. So next week is gonna be our last video. I'm gonna be making Eggs Benedict, which I'm really, really excited about. It is one of our favorites. My daughter asks for it every single weekend. She loves it just as much as I do. It's probably my favorite breakfast or brunch recipe, and that's why I put it in the book, because I was just dying for it. And my husband has learned how to make it, so he will actually make it for my daughter and I, and we really, really enjoy it. So I'm gonna show you how to make it. It's a dairy-free Hollandaise sauce. It does have egg yolks in it, so that's part of the sauce. I haven't figured out how to do this one vegan yet. I probably will do that at some point in time, but we're teaming up with Canyon Bakehouse, and they're gonna be doing some giveaways with it, so I'm so excited. I'm gonna be doing cookbook giveaways on Canyon's page as well. So if you're not following Canyon Bakehouse on socials, I encourage you to head over there and follow Canyon Bakehouse, because they're going to be giving away one of my books plus VIP coupons on their page on Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you're following Canyon Bakehouse, and I'm going to be using their English muffins to make the recipe, which is how we always do it around here, because their English muffins are the best. So we're getting there. I'm at 200 degrees right now, so it just takes a few minutes to just get this at the right temperature. And again, when you start plopping that dough in there, the temperature is gonna change slightly, so you're gonna wanna keep an eye on that. And if you guys hang out with me to the end, if anyone is still here at the end and you want a 4-week meal planning program, I will be giving a few of those away. But next week during the live, whoever stays through the video, I'll be giving away a Canyon Bakehouse VIP coupon to someone on Facebook and someone on Instagram, which will be a lot of fun. Canyon Bakehouse is our bread of choice, so I get asked a lot what bread we like, and that is what we have. We use their buns, we use their bagels, the bread, everything. They have, their English muffins are amazing. So if you're looking for a good gluten-free bread, I highly, highly recommend Canyon Bakehouse. And it's easy to find too. I know that they sell them in the freezers at Winco if you have a Winco, and the price is really good that way. So we are at 225 degrees. I like to give that oil a stir sometimes, just so that things are moving and flowing inside of there to get that correct temperature. I'm gonna start moving this over here. I'm gonna move this, and then over here I also have my ingredients for the maple frosting. And I'll just go ahead and move this over here, because we will make that next. And I don't know about you. I love maple on all of my donuts. I love maple on anything, let's just be honest here. But I'm curious to know what your favorite topping is for donuts. So let me know in the comments what your favorite, somebody tried to call me, what your favorite frosting is on donuts. I'm curious to know. Okay, we're almost at 250. We are getting there slowly but surely. And again, I have coconut oil in here. If you cannot do coconut, or if you absolutely hate coconut, any vegetable oil will work to fry in. Coconut is my favorite oil to work with besides avocado oil. But when I'm frying, I like to fry in coconut oil. I feel like it makes everything taste better. I don't know, I love coconut. So Jen Allen says she used to love chocolate, but now she likes maple too. I think that's how, I loved like a chocolate sprinkled donut, but now it's all about the maple. Caitlin says glaze on chocolate cake donuts. That's delicious too. And Jewel loves glazed or chocolate frosting. And you know, one thing I haven't tried to make, and I don't know how different it is than my current recipe, but I love an old-fashioned glazed donut. Anyone else? I mean, just like warm, you know, like a nice warm old-fashioned glazed donut. I've never tried to make it, so I don't really know what the difference is. Okay, our oil is almost at 260, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pop one of these in here. And I'm gonna grab a spatula to help me put it in there without ruining it, because I don't want to ruin the shape of the donut before I put it in the oil. And of course, I can't find the spatula. I wanted a metal one because I feel like it would slide off of it a little bit easier. Ooh. This part can be tricky sometimes. Okay. All right, we got one in there. I'm gonna grab another one. Be careful when you're transferring them. So 1.5 minutes on each side. It's 12:50 right now. I have 2 donuts in there. I'm gonna throw a couple donut holes in here. And that shot my temp up a lot. So I'm putting my heat down now. I'm gonna put like 3 donut holes in here. You guys want, I can try to move you closer. Do you want to see into this? So, let me know if you guys can see. Sorry for all the bumpity bump. But you can see in here, you can already see how it's changing, and it's getting too high in temp. I'm gonna have to move it from the heat for a second. I'm a little over 300 degrees right now, and I don't ever want it to go over 300. So I'm just taking it off the heat until we can get that temp down. My little donut holes are just popping around on their own. And I'm gonna flip this because it's getting, sorry to my Instagram people that got paused. Yeah, I have so many shirts that have coconut oil stains on them. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So we're doing good with the temp right now. We're just gonna wanna make sure that, you know, both sides get cooked really nicely. I'm probably gonna let these cook for at least another minute. But you guys can see that beautiful golden crust on these donuts in here. It's really nice. And then once these are done, we will move them to this baking sheet lined with paper towels. We're just gonna let that kind of soak up the oil, and then they're gonna sit for 20 minutes before we frost them. And if you get burnt like I did, lavender oil is a must for burns. It does a great job. So I always have lavender oil on hand. I'll put some of that on when I will probably get burnt again. I'm just letting you guys know. All right, I feel like these are almost done. My temp is dropping a little bit now, so I'm gonna turn it back up. And that's just part of this. That's one of, it's a little tedious when you're frying these. If your temp drops too much, you're gonna wanna leave them in for like an extra minute. You just really want to make sure that your donuts are cooked on the inside and you don't want to burn them. So that's just the key. If it's nice and golden and you feel like it's probably not done on the inside, then you don't have to worry too much about it being burnt. I just burnt myself again. But if it starts getting too dark on the outside, then you're going to want to remove it. Okay, I think these are ready. So here's my donut. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? I'm going to put it over here. I'm gonna get my donut holes. I'm gonna keep an eye on my temperature. It's dropping a little bit, so I'm gonna turn that heat back up. You want to keep a decent amount of oil in here. So it calls for 2.5 cups of oil, but if you feel like, you know, your oil is decreasing, you can go ahead and add more. Let's see. This donut is really thick, so it might take a little longer to cut through. Just use your judgment. As long as it's not burnt, you don't have to worry, but you want to make sure it's, you know, it's cooked all the way through. And part of the process of this sitting here for 20 minutes is it's still hot. It's still going to cook through a little bit. So that 20 minutes is really important, so that you can make sure your donut's cooked all the way through. So my temp is a little on the low side, but I'm not super concerned about it. I think I'll just turn it up a smidgen, and we're gonna let these guys cook probably 2 minutes on each side. So this is our process. Do you guys want to watch me fry all of these donuts, or do you kind of have the hang of it? Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you want to see. I just don't want to bore you guys. If you're super over it, I can just show you quickly how to make the frosting, and we can call it a day. So Jewel says they already look so good. I know, I'm so excited for these. And then when the maple, there's something about that maple smell that, like, I can't control myself when I've made something with it. And these will be sitting on the counter, and you'll walk by and you'll get that like fresh fried maple donut smell when you walk by, and it's incredible. It's so good. Okay. I'm gonna flip these little guys over here. This looks like it's about ready to be flipped. We've got that good temp right now. It's at about 270. So, and when you flip, if you know that there's gonna be some splatter, just get out of the way. Try to get out of the way. I'm having a hard time. There we go. Very good. And these little donut holes, they like expand and pop out when they're frying, which is a lot of fun. Do you guys want to like be able to watch this in the pan? I'm sure that's a little more entertaining than I am. That golden color that I've achieved on this side is perfection. That's really what you're looking for. This is a little bit, just a little, I mean, it's still perfect, but that is a really good color. I think I'm gonna throw this guy in here because we have a little extra space, so why not? That's what the fritters look like when you put them in the oil too, just so you know, if you ever try the apple fritter recipe. So these guys probably have like another minute on that side. I'm gonna flip these as much as I can, and you know, you don't want to overcrowd it in here because you want to make sure that you have room to do everything that you need to do. Yes, these are looking good. And again, remember, if you start to run low on oil, you can always add more oil, but you're going to have to let it warm up before you start trying to fry in it. So just keep that in mind. So we've got almost 4 donuts done now. All right, I think I'm going to take these out. They're so pretty. Yummy. I'm gonna flip this guy. I'm gonna take these out. That one's stuck under there. And just be careful because hot oil hurts. All right, put this guy, ooh. All right. What do you guys think so far? Oh, apple cider donuts sound really good. I was actually planning to do an apple cider donut recipe over the fall, but I ran out of time. And I actually think that would be really easy to do like a baked donut. You know, I don't even think you'd need to fry it. I think it would be really good baked. Olivia wants a recipe for apple cider donuts, and I'm with you. I love apple cider donuts. There's a new brand of, they make gluten-free donuts and they sell them at Sprouts, and the name of the brand right now is, I'm forgetting it, unfortunately, but they have an apple cider donut and it's really, really good. And our temp right now is right where it's supposed to be. It's hanging in there and it's doing a good job. This donut is so pretty. Oh, I'm so excited. It's hot though. I'm gonna put this down. It's hot. Caitlin says they look delicious. Thank you, Caitlin. I hope you got, who's gonna make donuts now? Are you gonna make donuts? Like, what do you think? Does it look hard? Does it look easy? Are you ready now to tackle this? I wanna know your thoughts. Did this video like make you feel like you can do it, or are you just like, heck no, I don't wanna do this? I really wanna know, whoa, I really wanna know what you guys are thinking. Here. Okay, there we go. I'm also trying not to scratch my pan with this metal. Okay, there we go. I want to know, are you, okay. So Olivia says that she will try them when she's in New Hampshire if she can find them. It looks yummy. You're gonna try in the morning. Well, so you're gonna make these in the morning. If you do, please, please, please send me a picture and tag me. I really want to see you guys making these things. And so My Days GF says she wants to make it and then she feels too lazy to do it. She just wants someone to cook for her. You know what? I have days like that too. And that's why I only make these like once or twice a year. This isn't something that I'm gonna do all the time. But it's, you know, it's like a special occasion treat, just like cinnamon rolls. I only make cinnamon rolls a couple times a year too. And, you know, it's fun, but yeah, sometimes I just want to go buy a donut and I don't want to have to make it myself. No, that's not quite ready yet. This one's almost done. It's kind of fluffy, so I just want to make sure that it gets cooked all the way through. So Caitlin says she probably won't make them because they take so long, but she's gonna make, oh yeah, Dutch babies are delicious, and I've actually been working on a recipe for that because I like Dutch babies a lot. And yes, this is time consuming, but I honestly feel like if you're a donut person, this is like totally, you have to try it. If you're a donut person, for me, donuts are literally one of my favorite treats. When it's like my birthday and people will ask me what kind of cake I want, I'm like insistent that I don't want a cake, I want donuts. So for me, making these a couple of times a year is, I just have to. I have to like satisfy that craving. So Brandy says that she recently made baked donuts. And yeah, see, you don't need a donut fryer for this. You don't need any super fancy equipment. It's totally doable. Anyone can make these. So if you, oh, I let that one get a little toasty. If you have a donut lover in your house, this would be such a sweet special treat to make for them. And you can, like I said, there's also an apple fritter recipe up on the blog. And you can always test it out with that one too and see how you feel about, you know, doing all the frying and all of this. I'm gonna put 3 donuts in here. We're almost done with this, you guys. Do you want me to show you real quick how to make the frosting? Let's see. My Days GF says that she loves donuts with jam and cream. Well, that just sounds amazing. Irene says they look yummy. Thank you, Irene. I'm glad you guys are hanging out with me. We're in the final stretch. The final stretch, the last 4 donuts. These guys, by the time I'm done with these donuts, are gonna have been sitting here for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna frost it. Do you guys want to watch me frost it and take a bite of it? Or is that gross? Do you like not want to see somebody eat food? I don't know. I just want to show you like the inside of it. We could do like a little donut hole or something. That would be fun. And I'm gonna wait until the end to clean my hand. But the frosting's super easy. Literally, I have a couple cups of powdered sugar in here, and all I'm going to do is I have maple extract with maple syrup, plus a little bit of dairy-free milk, and I just stir it up, and that's it. So let's see, Brandy wants to know what temperature. The oil is going to be in between 275 and 300 at all times. So that's why I have my handy thermometer right here. I'm watching it. It is so important that you keep an eye on this temp. And you never want it to go over 300. Sorry, I was afraid I was gonna burn myself. You never want it to go over 300 and no less than 275. So that is the magic number, and you're going to have to adjust the temp as you're cooking to make sure that you keep it there. Like right now I'm right at 300, so I'm just gonna lower it a smidgen. And you know, obviously while you're frying, you're not gonna be able to leave the stove. So just make sure that you know that you're gonna be hanging out here for about 30 minutes frying the donuts, but it's totally worth it. I have readers that have told me that they have froze these. I would recommend freezing them unfrosted if you're going to freeze them, and then frost them before serving. But I do have readers that made them, frosted them, froze them, popped them in the oven after they defrosted a little bit, ate them warm, and they said they were amazing. So let's see, My Days GF says that you are loving the weekly videos. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the videos. You know, it's been a while since I've been doing lives, and like I said, I'm not going to be able to do them all the time because it does take a lot of prep and it is somewhat time consuming, but I'm going to try to figure out a schedule to be able to come on more often and cook live. Maybe if it's like, you know, the first Saturday of the month or something like that, and we'll figure something out. Irene wants to know if I'll be doing more videos. They are helpful. I will be doing more videos. I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to schedule it out, like I was just saying, maybe where it's like the first Saturday of every month I do a live, or I'm going to have to do groups of these, like segments where I do 4 weeks of live cooking at a time. I was also considering, Facebook now has a feature where you can teach classes, and I was considering doing something on there. I think it's like a paid feature where people actually like pay to do the classes, and I know that that's not always ideal, but it would be easier for me to commit to something every week if I knew that I would at least make the money back for what I'm spending on the ingredients. So that is something that I have thought about too. I don't know how you guys feel about that. You can let me know what you think, if that's something that you would ever have any interest in or know, but I will find a way to do some more live videos for you guys, because I love hanging out with you, and it's so nice to be able to have this time where we can connect and you can ask questions, and it's important. So let's see, Nerdy C was, what page is that recipe on? So this recipe is page 167 of 101 Incredible Gluten-Free Recipes. Here is the picture, and this is the book that this recipe is in. So I have two cookbooks. I have Living Freely Gluten-Free, which you can see right there, and then this is my latest one. This came out almost a year ago. All right, well, this is our last donut right here. You guys have stuck with me. It has been an hour and 10 minutes. I think this is the longest live that I've ever done. And that is why I considered like doing the Facebook classes, because then, you know, you want to be there and it's more intimate and more interactive. So if that is something that you guys are interested in, please let me know, because if you would show up, I will totally do it. And we can make all kinds of things. I mean, I have so many, I have like 300 recipes. There's so many things we can do and talk about. So, oh, Nerdy C says she has both of them. Awesome. Yeah, so the donut recipe is in the new one. There's also an apple fritter recipe in there that has the same technique. So it's all very similar to all of this. So John says that he's learning a lot about gluten-free baking from the videos, and you have both of my books. Yay! Olivia wants to know where you can get the books. So they are sold online wherever books are sold, but I have them on my website, and if you order from me, I ship them myself, and I also sign them before I ship them. And right now, if you use the promo code 2021, you'll get 20% off. So that gives you the books for $20, and that includes tax and shipping, and you can't get it for that price anywhere else. So the best place, if you want a good deal right now, is to order off of my website, and that really supports me, and I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the page, my website is livingfreelyglutenfree.com, and when the videos are over, I go through the comments and I share all the links to everything. So if there's anything you need a link to, put it in the comments, and I will be sure to share that once the video is over. Now I'm just going to show you guys real quick how I make the icing, frosting, whatever you want to call it. And then once this video is over, I'm going to try to talk somebody into doing the dishes. Okay, so let's see, what do we have here? Here I have some flax milk. You can use coconut milk, you can use regular milk, you can use almond milk, whatever you have works. When I'm done, I'm gonna nurse my coconut oil burns too. Sorry, I'm just also watching this last donut that's in here. So here I have my powdered sugar, and here we have maple syrup plus maple extract. I'm gonna put that in there. And in here I have dairy-free milk. I'm gonna pour this in, not all at the same time, because we don't want this to be too liquidy, so I want to watch it as I do it. And this is the tail end right here of everything. Oh, if you're not in the US and you want to get the book, it's available on all of the Amazons. So I would say that's probably the easiest place to grab the book if you are not in the US. So here's our frosting. It's almost done. And I probably will add the last of that milk in here. And to frost it, literally all we're gonna do is drop our donuts right in here, pull them out, and put them back on that baking sheet, and that's it. Sorry guys, I'm just checking on this last donut that we have over here. And it's not quite done, but it's getting there. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of maple. I don't know if you guys are like that, but it gets me every time. And this is our frosting. Super simple. So again, like the tools that I would recommend for this recipe having beforehand, obviously you need the donut cutter, that's a must. I love my stand mixer for this. You probably could do this with a hand mixer if you absolutely had to. You're gonna need the temperature. It's a candy thermometer that I use. You're gonna need that. And this will make everything so much easier if you can grab one of these little spider spatula thingies too. Okay. Are you guys ready for this? If you are still here and you don't have my 4-week meal planning program and you want one, comment now that you want a 4-week meal planning program, because I'm gonna give some dropping stuff. Okay, so go ahead, comment that now if you're interested in the 4-week meal planning program. If you don't already have it, it comes with a download for the ebook for my first cookbook. So if you don't have my first cookbook, it comes with the ebook download. It's free, it's included, plus a 4-week meal planning program that gives you your grocery list and everything that you're gonna eat for 4 weeks, which is awesome. Okay, I kind of burned this one. I'm gonna give that one to my mom. She likes burnt stuff. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do a little donut hole first. I'm gonna drop it in here and so basically, I'm gonna find the coolest. Which one did I do first? Sorry, Instagram. That is good. Sorry guys, I'm just taking this last donut off of here. It's starting to burn a little bit. Okay, so to frost your donuts, you're just gonna take it, look at this, drop it in there, and then pull it out and set it there. These are warm, so it's like drizzling off of it very quickly and making it almost glazed. If you don't want it like that on there, you just need to let them cool off more. Then you drop them in there, and then it'll look more like it does in the picture. So that's the reason why it's doing that. These donuts are still really warm. So that's it. Oh, you saw my little dog. Yep, she's in here, wondering if I'm gonna drop anything for her. Okay, so John wants the meal planning program. Paige would like to see more lives on Facebook and the 4-week meal plan. And yes, you guys, like literally, I don't know if you want to see my family, but you know, they're waiting for the A-OK to come out here so they can all start digging into these donuts. But follow my stories because they will probably go very, very quickly. Okay, did anybody over here on Instagram want my 4-week meal planning program? So over here I have Paige and John. So you both can DM me your email address and I will send you over the info for the 4-week meal planning program by the end of today. And that's it. We made donuts, you guys. So let's see, Irene would like the meal planning program too. Okay, so the 3 of you guys, Irene, Olivia, or wait, no, Olivia didn't, maybe she already has it. John and Paige, I will send you guys the 4-week meal planning program. Just go ahead and shoot over your email address to me. And that's it. I'm gonna frost some of these and we're all having donuts for lunch. So that's how that goes. All right, you guys, thank you so much for spending an hour and 20 minutes with me. I will be back next Friday for our last live of the series, and then we will figure out if we're gonna start doing those Facebook cooking classes. And I really appreciate your time hanging out with me. And if you make anything from the book or you make these donuts, please tag me. I wanna see it. It brings me joy to see you guys cooking these recipes. So, all right. Bye everyone, have a good weekend. Oh, Paige wants to know what my email address is here. I'll end this live over here. Hi, Paige. My email address